So we are recording. Jeff, if you want to do a quick introduction to yourself, what's going on with the.com? I know you guys just closed a round, so congratulations on that. But I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, my name's Jeff. I'm one of the founders of the.com. Thank you for that intro, Alex. And yes, we did just announce our seed round where we partnered with NFX, Village Global, Sound Ventures, some really cool partners out here in the Bay Area. We started the company in Boulder, Colorado in an old garage, which is pretty cool. And now we are out here in San Francisco in the Mission, sunny Mission over here. And yeah, the .com was built and kind of willed into existence after years of building agency websites. My brother and I owned an agency for 7 years and built thousands of WordPress and Webflow sites. So the kind of frustrations we had with legacy platforms in the way that the data systems really work is where the .com was born. So
yeah, it's killer. I didn't know you guys were an agency. That's interesting. Yeah, makes total sense.
So many sites.
So many sites. Okay, cool. And since this is a small group, you guys can feel free to chat in the chat. If you have a question, we'll stop the conversation periodically and give you a chance to open up to some unique conversation for your specific use case, specific clients. We can cater it to you. You took the time, so let's do that. But we do have a presentation. So let's go through a few slides. You guys raise your hand or jump into the chat if you want us to stop and repeat anything or ask some questions. And then, of course, we'll have some time at the end to do more custom stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to enable screen sharing for me.
Just did. You should be good.
Cool.
My bad.
There we go. No worries. I think I can click play on this guy. Can you see that? Full screen?
Auto sites. Cool. And that's not automotive websites. That's a different.
That is not automotive websites. No. Okay. This is automatically generated sites. And that is the new revenue stream we're going to be talking about today. And it's very cool to be able to start offering this. And we've had some really innovative companies start piloting this program. But because of the way the .com's editor is set up, which we'll go into a demo in a little bit, because of the way it's set up, you can actually feed data into very custom designs from any data source. And like you said, Alex, that could be uploading a CSV, but we have a bunch of customers that do Airtable, Google Sheets, Notion databases, pretty much anything that is set up like a database, which is a lot of things. We partner with Zapier right now for that kind of data flow and that integration. So anything they support and they can bring in, we can accept, which is really cool. So what you guys need to know, you've probably never heard of the .com, and if you're watching this or if you're watching this later, it's a new type of web development platform. After years of building on WordPress and Webflow, we decided we needed something that really treated data like a first-class citizen, and that we needed to create data systems because we've realized we were constantly rebuilding stuff that we had built in the past. Structure-wise, we wanted to take different pieces of different websites that we had built and that our community had built and reuse those. And there was really no way to do that. So we kind of created this concept of blocks, and I'll show you those when we go through a demo. But what that unlocked in the building process was the ability to kind of quick spin up or auto generate these sites. Obviously, you can use the .com to build super custom marketing sites. You can use it for headless e-commerce, anything like that. But in this case, what we're talking about today is this kind of new passive revenue stream, which I think it's funny. We had a lot of agencies try and set this up early on, and we were like, just hold on a second, because this is actually a whole new vertical that people can offer. Once it's set up, it kind of runs on its own. And I'll show you guys a cool example of that from one of our current customers that uses it in the format of a law firms, actually. So just what you need to know here, our platform, the .com powers websites for agencies. Again, the benefit of learning the .com for this revenue stream is that you can also use it at your agency for other regular marketing projects. But in this specific scenario, we're saying that any new business, people who use paid ads, landing pages. There's a lot of benefits to using the .com for these smaller companies that need to spin up a lot of sites but don't have the manpower. We're just talking to some new ones yesterday that their whole dev team is obviously focused on their platform or their main product, and they don't actually have the capacity or even necessarily the budget to spin up the sites that they need to accompany either their platform. So that could be, it could be an agency working with paid ads. It could be a SaaS platform working with landing pages, anything like that. I put 1 to 5 person companies here, but honestly, it could be a much larger company than that. We work with companies that have hundreds of people working there. But for this kind of test and first use case, I think it's helpful to start small. And you'll see that on the timeline that we have on here. I put 2 days on the platform itself because it is a very different platform. It's not like you're looking at kind of this dashboardy type side drawer like WordPress or Webflow. It is going to take a couple days to actually get the feeling for why it's a spreadsheet. And you guys will see what I mean by that in a second. But after you understand the primitives, you start moving much, much faster. It's all keyboard command based, and you can start linking data using the cells just like you would in Airtable or Google Sheets or Excel. The best part about this revenue stream is that interacting with the .com would be you as the agency and not your customer if you didn't want them to. So right now we don't really white label the product, but because of the way that this auto site is set up, customers would only see what you ask them to put into the form fields. And so what I mean by that is when someone wants to spin up a site, you as the agency direct them to where to input their data, whether that's a blog, whether that's like Alex said, a directory. In the case that we're going to show you today, it's actually law firms. And so where they decided to direct their customers to was an Airtable form. So we'll look at that in a second. The great thing about the .com is we allow for unlimited sub accounts on the high volume plan. And so we call it the high volume plan because generally these companies are spitting out tens of sites to hundreds of sites. And then the other benefit, like I said, is that you can use it at your own agency to build the regular websites that you're working on a monthly basis as well. And there's an added benefit of being a part of the .com's community, and it's that we get projects submitted to us that we don't build sites. We're not a services company, so we can hand out projects to agencies that partner with us. So that's kind of the main overview there. Are there any questions or anything like that, Alex?
No, keep going. I was just messaging Brian. Brian, by the way, we're going to learn how to set up and sell a new service on top of this unique platform called the .com. And Jeff here is the founder.
Cool. Sweet. So this is what we're codenaming auto sites right now. Effectively the automated generation of sites from templates and data. We actually break templates down into what we call blocks, which are even smaller sections of websites. It lets you be super custom. In this case, like I said in the previous slide, about 2 days to understand kind of the new primitives of our platform and interacting with the website in this kind of spreadsheet-based, table-based format. And then there is definitely some setup time to create this new revenue stream. You know, nothing that's valuable is worth doing super quickly. So we wanted to make sure that there's really these systems set in place for creating this new revenue stream. But we've seen with like this law firm and other places that it can turn into a completely automatic passive revenue stream. So it's really worth that kind of time to set up. The other thing about setting it up is on that high volume plan, we kind of start with letting you set it up yourself and creating that kind of automatic system, but we can go up into a more enterprise level monthly price that allows you to just pay us and our team of experts to get that set up for you. Again, super simple. Once you're comfortable with the .com's editing experience, you build out your blocks and your set of blocks, which can be arranged into that template that the data is going to be fed into. This can be one site, obviously it can be many sites. And the law example I'm about to show you, they actually decided to do 3 different sites. And then you can launch that funnel, whether it's on your site or as a completely separate branded product. We have a lot of people do it as kind of like an additional offering at their agency. And then we have other people that create a whole new brand around this funnel. Something like, these guys didn't do it this way, but something like lawyerwebsites.com, right? One-click lawyerwebsites.com. It's one of those generic sounding things that actually spins up a lot of sites and creates a decent amount of revenue for companies that can set up the funnels properly. So here is, where's my mouse? I clicked on the chat and now I can't get out of it. There we go. Okay, so we are going to go through a demo in a second, but I just wanted to show you one example of that law firm site. It's actually a pretty great looking and robust site. It's got multiple pages. It has a blog, it has a team directory. So this is one of the more intricate sites that can be spun up. Again, you'll notice that there's a lot of different data points on here. And because the .com is table-based, when people fill out the form on Airtable in this specific example, that's going to actually generate the colors, the logo, the text, the quotes, the directory, the blogs, the contact information, the social media links. When you think about how that just lines up from an Airtable form into an Airtable row, that row of data is what generates this actual page, which is pretty cool. A couple questions that were in here, and we'll come back to that in a second. Let's go straight to the product demo so that we can all get a picture and an understanding of how this works. So again, let me find my mouse here and we will switch over to the actual site here. Oops. And we'll share this screen. You guys see this screen here? Cool. So what you're seeing here is when you log into the .com, you're going to get all of the sites that you've been working on or that other people in your network are working on, whether that's customers or other agencies that you're working with. You can see here, I actually have hundreds and hundreds of sites in here. And what's really cool about that is previously platforms definitely made it a lot harder to manage and log into different site instances. But what you're seeing here is these are all completely separate sites owned by different people. And there's a lot of live collaboration that happens inside our platform, including the ability to chat with other people based on channel and things like that. The great thing that your potential new customer who's signing up for this automated site will never see this view if you don't want them to, and they'll never see the editor. And I'll explain how that works in a second. So I'm going to actually open the law firm site that we talked about here. And I can just Command K, search for that. This is the editing experience I talked about. So you can see here, it's set up like a spreadsheet or a table. I've got different pages. In this case, this is like about a 4-page website. We've got different blocks, like I mentioned before. So what's really nice is once you start building these sets of blocks for one site, you can actually use these blocks across many different sites inside your account. And you can even monetize them in our marketplace. But for now, in this case, this company decided to create a set of blocks that they would share across multiple websites and then connect them into the Airtable in a way that allows people to just submit an Airtable form. And I believe that the law firm itself charges for they have two one-page templates and then this 4-page template. And I'm pretty sure they charge $49 a month for the 1-page and $99 a month for the 4-page. And what's cool about that is once they set this whole system up, they were able to just turn that button on their website. And now people just fill out that form and automatically get a site at the dummy URL. And then obviously they can connect the URL after. So if I click into the home page here, you guys will see the editing experience. Again, this is something that is very different from previous platforms, but you'll notice that as I click on different areas of the screen, or click on different styles over here, you're going to see that highlight in the actual website itself. We wanted something that was completely full screen in the background that with a command, I could hide it instead of having to hit preview and open that thing in a new tab. So Command E will hide the editor. Again, we're not going to go through a whole demo of how each part of the editor works, but it's pretty simple from a baseline level. You've got your elements on the left-hand side and you've got your styles on the right-hand side. Very similar in rich styles to Airtable here. But what becomes powerful with it being cells is that you see we have the equals symbol in some of these areas. And that's because this is actually being sent via data from Airtable. So if we go back to the worksheet area, you'll see if I click on the sheets area here, this is just data that was filled out via the Airtable form. So one row of data, and that's populating an entire website in a custom way. So you build the structure of the site in the blocks, you connect it up to the Airtable or to the Google Sheet or to your own form on your website. That data feeds into these sheets and boom, you have a new site that's completely custom to the data that they filled out in that form. And so if we were to go look at the site itself, this is the real demo site that they have. It's actually at their URL. And you can go click on different pages here and see the different areas and pieces that these specific lawyers have the ability to fill out data in Airtable. They also have other templates you can see here. They've created single page websites as well. And so all of these were built with blocks and all of these pull data in from Airtable. So let's stop, see if we have any questions here. Can you set global styles or styling on an element basis? Great question, Derek. So global styles, we are about to release, I believe it's this week, hopefully this week or next week, but I have it in my kind of like admin view here, what we call defaults. And so when you click on this button right here, you'll see that we have a couple other options, redirects, font sheets to add custom fonts, but this really cool feature that we're calling defaults. Now with defaults is exactly what you asked. You can go through any single element that you would have in HTML and you would be able to add a custom default style to that element. So if we said we want all H1s to have a font family of Palantino and a font size of 50, now anytime you connect that H1 data, you add that H1 element into a page, it will have this default kind of style. So that's how you would do default styling across the entire site right there. So great question. And I'm glad you brought that up because this is something that should be going live in the next few days. Yeah, you could definitely generate style guides. Yeah, that's true. I've never actually thought of it that way, but very cool point, Derek. So I think if I go back to the slides, let's see here. I don't use Keynote that often, so we'll go back to the FAQs here. So like I said, a couple of questions that we normally see is like, is this white labeled? The .com specific itself isn't white labeled, but like I said, what the client does see is completely up to you. That Law Champs company actually just has that page I showed you. You click on a demo, you choose which template you want, and then it asks you to fill out an Airtable form. So that customer never sees the .com in that process. But the other question that we get after that is, okay, so they spun up this site. Is it a rigid site? Like, is that what they get? And that's all they get forever? No, what I just showed you inside that template where the row of data was getting pulled in from Airtable, that is completely free form. So because you set it up to work that way, that's how it's generated. But after it's generated, if the customer wanted to upgrade, was technical enough to go in and edit themselves or upgrade maybe to a new plan that you offer, that's because you're an agency, you could say, this is an automated site, it's $50 a month or it's $100 a month. But if you want this to be a real robust site, you can start with the quick site or the auto site, and then you can upgrade and we can get it more custom and more specific to you. And so that's what's great about the .com. Unlike other platforms that can kind of pull data from Airtable, we make it so that once it's pulled, you're not locked into that structure. You can completely customize that structure after the fact. So this is some of the questions that Melissa was kind of adding in here for us. Just if you're thinking about doing this, it's not just for these additional revenue streams. You can also generate these things if you're working on a bunch of landing pages. If you hear people that have problems with site speed, one of the things that the .com is known for is how fast the websites load. We actually built the platform around serverless technology, which is kind of a newer way to build and generate and deploy websites. It's kind of like that Jamstack methodology. But what that allows us to do is create everything inside a single database area instead of having to send the data to a host like you would with WordPress. So there's no more hosting. It's all lives inside the .com, and we use AWS. So usually super, secure, 99% uptime with them. And that means that the sites load generally, 10 to 100 times faster, depending on where the sites are coming from. I know landing pages with Unbounce and Instapage loads pretty slow. Shopify down here we have is, again, probably the slowest of all. And then obviously coming from WordPress and Webflow. From an SEO perspective, we allow every single cell is editable in the .com, like you just saw. So that doesn't just mean the styles and the elements. It also means the access to the head of the page as well. So you can add scripts, you can add any meta tag, you can add open graph, anything that has to do with the SEO that you're looking to add in, we can accept that SEO. Looks like we have another question. Is there meta schema? So inside the head, you can actually create any tags you want, and then you can connect those also up to a new sheet. So in the .com's real website, we actually went into the head and we said, connect this data to an outside source. And we actually manage our SEO for our website through that sheet, which is pulled in. I think it's from Google Sheets right now. And so that's not exactly what you're asking on the FAQ block. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. But we can take and accept any type of SEO. So I think hopefully that answers your part of your question there. Again, my mouse is not showing up. So there we go. Other services that are relevant to these sites is kind of site migration, web design, copywriting, anything that has to do with people who want to edit their sites outside of a website platform. Like they're just not technical enough and they want to use their Google Drive infrastructure that they already manage most of their content or their CMS or CRM data in. They can pull that data into the .com. We have one customer that uses these auto sites to spin up pages for their real estate company. And so they actually manage all of their real estate in a Google Sheet. And because of that, when they update the price or a listing, that's automatically updated on the website, which is pretty cool. And again, other products like people use us on top of Shopify and BigCommerce as a headless e-com that gets some really custom looking sites, but it still brings in Shopify data into those sheets, like the buy button sales channel. From this perspective, the auto sites are actually on our more expensive plan. We do have an agency member plan, and then we do have a single site per site plan. And that's kind of how we have the individual sites, people who are small agencies, and then we have kind of this auto sites plan. And the reason for the pricing on that is obviously you're saving an incredible amount of time by just automatically generating sites. Because that plan is on the higher end, we do offer like pretty intense white glove service for the agency setting those revenue streams up. And then we also offer priority support to the end customer inside that chat that you saw in the app. So if they did end up logging in or they wanted to do it via email, they obviously could do that too. They can send that support request directly to us, the .com, and not have to ask the agency for that support necessarily. again, another piece of support to think about is there's different levels of that plan. The lowest level is $14.99. That plan would get you access to activate the automated site creation, but it would also have you building your own blocks and your own templates and things like that. There's different levels of that plan that allows us, will have us and our team of experts effectively set that all up for you so you don't even have to touch it. Again, that comes with also hours of onboarding and several hours a month to work on that with those higher plans. And yeah, again, clients are used to sites, even landing pages, taking multiple weeks, if not multiple months sometimes. And so we've seen people be very excited about having this same day, if not same hour, a lot of the time. And yes, they are instant, but sometimes spinning it up, connecting it to a URL can take a couple extra minutes, since generally the clients either forget their login or something like that. It's really easy to connect the URL inside the .com. We use a special system called Entry, which lets them or you log into their GoDaddy or their Namecheap or their HostGator with just their login credentials, and it updates the DNS records for them instead of having to copy and paste stuff if you don't want. Again, there's also that in-app support chat. We did the demo. This was something that Melissa gave me. It's actually, we don't have our own custom timetables, but this is pretty similar to how we've onboarded the previous like 5 or 10 that we've done. Like I said, it is a new system, so it takes some time to understand, to spend that full 2 days on learning it. So usually we give people a couple weeks to, put those 2 days in. And then we help with the beta for that first customer. We actually are doing one literally today to help someone with something that's more like an Amazon store, which is really cool. And then we help, depending on the plan that you purchase, we help create that funnel. And then again, this is from partner programs, but we offer this exact same highlight in we'll write a blog about these new partners. One is coming out today about a really cool customer. Actually, it'd be interesting to know that these people have 3,000 websites that we're converting over into this platform. So it's kind of like a crazy situation that we're going to be, I think, posting the blog post about that today. There's going to be a lot of social media activity around these partners as well. Everything that we do in social is built around promoting the community. So that's on there as well. And then Alex created his really cool directory. Ours of our partners is coming very soon. We're actually going to use our own system with these auto sites to create the directory. But sometimes we work on customers more than we work on our own stuff, as I'm sure everybody here knows. And so that's pretty much the overview of creating this new revenue stream. It's been super successful for the law firm, and we've seen other people in other verticals. It's kind of a crazy open-ended possibility, because you can do it for athletes. You could do it for people coming out of college. You can do it for social media influencers like link in bio. You can pretty much design any landing page or small marketing site that you want for any vertical that or that you're good at. And especially if you're good at those paid ads or click funnels, you can start driving people to that page and say, hey, it makes so much sense for $29, $49, $99 a month for you to get a page for the next 5 months. And then you can also use that as a kind of upgrade funnel or expansion funnel for your real agency work that you do. So I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And yeah, it's just been fun setting these up, because when we built the .com, we had no clue that this would even be something that we would sell, because this auto generation of sites, because we didn't know it was possible until someone started using it that way without us prompting them. And we were kind of like, wow, that's genius way to do it. So yeah, that's the little presentation there. I'll stop my screen share and
yeah,
Alex,
I wanted to say something real quick, because this is originally what we talked about, Jeff, way back. So like when you guys
remember that.
when you guys were just getting started, I was working with this agency called Corey. They're a big account-based marketing agency in Toronto. Doesn't matter. But the service that they sell all of their clients is the creation of these keyword-focused microsites where they populate one of these sites with all of the content that they can think of related to that keyword. Some of it is third-party content that gets embedded, up content, for example. Some of it is content that they write for this keyword. They put this on a subdomain, but when they have a client that comes in, the client will be like, I want to rank and give my salespeople content to distribute to prospects related to COVID-19 or whatever, right? If it's a pharmaceutical client or something like that. Then they'll go to Corey. Corey will immediately duplicate this template, and then they'll populate it with a ton of COVID-19 related content. And they'll either come up with a vanity URL like covid19facts.com or whatever. Or if the client wants a subdomain, it'll be subdomain. But sometimes it works better as a vanity URL. And then what the client does is break all these pages up into valuable resources that they can give their salespeople to email out. They add drift to all these sites. You can add one of your favorite chat bots. They add Vidyard, powers these videos so they can track everything going on the site. And then all that information goes back to Corey. And then Corey uses the engagement on this site to create account-based sales strategies for their clients. That's one way of thinking about this. So you would go to your clients that are in different verticals and you'd say, you know what, you're trying to gather business related to this one keyword. Yes, we can publish all the blog posts we want related to that keyword, but what we really need to do is come up with something valuable for your prospects, like a directory of all the resources that they're looking for that end up on your desk, right? Real estate, jobs, you mentioned dental, XYZ. Come up with whatever, anything that you can think of that can be a database format, and then create your front end in the .com, and then populate your first example, and then send it out to your clients and say, hey, we can do this for you and have this much content out of the box and this many pages, and it costs this much money. And this is what it aims to do for you. And make sure you install the right tracking, IP analysis, drift, Vidyard, whatever you want to use, but make sure that you can bring back data to say, here's what's going on that site, and then create more of a prospecting sales strategy for your clients if you want to do that. That's just an example. I want to show that.
No, definitely. That's a great example. I mean, the cool thing is these guys make their entire business around these kind of sub sites, microsites. But when you think about the way that the data is set up in these guys, you can really experiment, I would say, with creating these like micro revenue streams, like free dental websites.com, or, like you can charge whatever you want, because the way our platform works is you just get charged $9 for those sites. So if you wanted to run some tests, $9 obviously is nothing. And if you wanted to charge $29 or $99, you'd be making a really nice little extra monthly recurring revenue that's really passive.
Yeah.
And it's a funnel to funnel new projects and customers to your agency as well.
Exactly. Like you see this is ready to take your account base center stage, enter my first name. So this is obviously your lead capture right here. You've got drift for lead capture. And then I'm just wondering about this. They use this Spotify station that they created for account-based marketing. I wonder if that impacts SEO. I don't know. I can't say if it does or not, but they have an account-based marketing Spotify station. That's
pretty clever. We actually just were seeing some people using business Spotify playlists. We have one at the .com, but it's more just because we like music. Oh, look, your bot is talking to you.
Yeah. So they have these little CTAs everywhere. I like how they do this. Want to get some creative goodies? Take me there. Listen now. Find a time. So these are 3 different CTAs that are just embedded. So this is something you could do in the .com in a few hours. I mean, not even a lot of time. A lot of this will have to be third-party content for now. But imagine if you sent the Airtable to your content writer, whoever it is, and gave them directions to say, hey, I want one cornerstone piece of content for each one of these main pages: strategy, creative, technology. So it has to be account-based marketing plus strategy, account-based marketing plus creative, account-based marketing plus technology. And then they go and do their research. They create one awesome cornerstone piece of content, get one video in there, and then the rest can be third-party content, pepper some CTAs in, and you've got a killer microsite for your clients. Anyways.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. And also Up Content, we use them with a bunch of people as well that help generate that data. So you don't even need to generate the data yourself. You're just using the .com to pull that data into the design that you think is best for your custom funnel, but you don't even have to write those blog posts.
Oh, killer. And here's the course on Up Content for those of you who want to know. It's how you embed third-party content throughout different websites that you manage. That is a killer use case. So a couple things. Yeah, I think whatever you want to do, create a use case with Jeff. Their team is really willing to work closely with the partners that are serious about, hey, I want to build a service. Help me do it. Jeff will partner with you, actually partner, not just sell you an account and then let you go. But he'll really help you kind of get the first use case off the ground. And then marketing it, Jeff will do a case study with you. He'll feature you in the blog. He'll get you in the newsletter so that other users of the .com that aren't agency partners, but other actual end users will look at your case study and say, hey, I want that, and get in your calendar.
Exactly.
Very cool.
We have a super active Slack community. We also have, right now we offer 6 free sites to kind of play around with that aren't connected to a URL. So you also have the ability to go in there and play around with the platform beforehand. And yeah, like Alex said, we have special Slack channels and in-app chat channels specifically for partners. And we never turn those off. So we're always around to support. And yeah, it's been cool to see the people start using this in this way, because it wasn't one we planned on when we built the platform, but it's lending itself really well to these like passive revenue streams.
I love it. Okay. Well, come up with your use case, email Jeff what you want to do. He'll reply with some examples if he has any. If he doesn't, maybe if he really likes it, plan on creating some sort of a case study for those guys, and then they'll do whatever they can to get you to finish it, get it through. So anything they can do to help you out. Jeff's email is there. Thanks, Jeff. I put the community link as well. Above that is the Up Content course if you want to figure out how to populate one of these sites. Above that is the example of the microsite. If anyone has any other questions, ask them now. Otherwise, you can email Jeff anytime. Cool.
Yeah, and we'll be posting some of these things that we talked about today on our LinkedIn and Twitter, and inside of our Slack community. So if you have any questions, you can reach out on any of those platforms.
Yeah, they're super nice guys to work with too. So hope you guys like it. Thanks for coming. And Jeff, pleasure as always. I'll let you get back to work. I know you got a lot to do. So thanks for the time, man.
Definitely appreciate it, guys. We'll talk soon.